Hi everyone and happy Friday, TGIF. I hope y'all had a great week. And today's gonna be a little bit of a longer video, but I thought I would come on and share what supplements I'm taking and why. Because I don't know about you, but when I follow different practitioners and, I'm just always curious what they do. And so I thought maybe you were too. And maybe you'd like to kind of see what I'm taking right now, why I'm taking it, what is part of a short-term protocol for me versus more of a long-term, excuse me. And, we'll talk about it and, when it may be appropriate. Now, just to clarify, I'm gonna have to take a drink. Just to clarify, nothing that I am saying in this video is recommended for you, and please don't ask me about personalized supplement recommendations unless I am your practitioner, because that is a question for somebody that you're working very closely with. Okay, so let's get started. So let me kind of organize these real quick. So CoQ10 is one that I have been on since the initiation of treatment last year. This is heart protective, and the chemo that I was on could potentially damage your heart. And so we were on a high dose of this, 400 milligrams. And I've maintained that after my treatment. Now, we have started weaning off some things, but I did notice that when I dropped this for a short period of time, sometimes I get lazy and don't refill things, or I try to take something out or whatever. And I did notice that when I dropped this, I had more anxiety, and I kind of felt like it was directly related to letting this go. And so I brought it back in. It is still at the highest dose, but as soon as this bottle is done, I'm going to drop down to 200 and see how I do. When you look up CoQ10, you'll see that a lot of times the recommendations are for 100 or 200 milligram doses. And again, it's heart protective, and there's a lot of really great benefits for CoQ10 for a lot of people. Maybe if somebody has blood pressure issues, that sort of thing. So you'll see that the dosage recommendations are typically a lot lower. So just kind of keep in mind, again, I'm not recommending dosages for you as an individual. I'm not your practitioner. I'm just sharing what I'm doing. And a lot of times with disease prevention or recovery, things like that, when you're in recovery mode or going through something, the dosages are going to be a lot higher. They're going to be like therapeutic level doses. So keep that in mind. CoQ10's awesome. I also take, this is something I started taking, it's called Adrenal Cortex Fractions, and this has both adrenal cortex and whole adrenal in it, so like desiccated adrenal gland from a cow. And so similar to eating liver, a lot of times when we eat the organ of another animal, it helps that organ in you. So the main focus, besides of course supporting my immune system and overall health since treatment, the main focus, hi Abigail, hi Ashley, has been to get back my fertility ability and support my hormone creation, production, and balance. And so I've been very consistent every 3 months or so taking a Dutch urine test, which is a test that sometimes I will run on my clients if hormones are a big concern. And so I've been doing this under the supervision of my integrative oncologist, because every practitioner needs a practitioner, right? I don't want to be diagnosing or, treating myself. And so I've been doing this every 3 months to monitor my hormones, and boy, have they improved. But I tend to have very low levels of cortisol. And so not only is my body not producing it, there's not a lot in circulation. So the Dutch test will show us like 2 different numbers of cortisol. It'll show you what your body's actually creating and then what is actually circulating in your body. And sometimes those don't match. In my case, they do match, and they're both very low. So basically I'm not creating that, which is really interesting. And historically I've had a problem with that. So we're kind of trying to monitor that and see if it does improve. My energy levels are fine though. So it's one of those, how do you feel and what's happening in your body? So I am taking this. I do seem to like them. And again, supportive for cortisol, supportive for adrenal function. We'll retest and see if my cortisol levels have changed, but this is something we brought in to support and see what happens. Got to keep organized. Vitex berry. So again, my main focus is hormones right now. Vitex berry, or it's also called chase tree berry, is really, really supportive if you have low estrogen levels or if your body needs the signal to ovulate. And so basically that's what this does, is it communicates to your brain to ovulate. And so then if you ovulate, your body is going to create and produce more progesterone during the second half. So during the first half of your cycle, your estrogen and progesterone both rise, but your estrogen is higher. The second half, you want that to switch where they're both kind of coming down, but progesterone takes priority. And so you have to ovulate in order for these balances to be correct and for your body to get the right signals. And this helps trigger your brain to send the right signals. And for me and my body in particular, historically, I have found that this is very supportive to me and to my progesterone levels. And sure enough, last time we checked, my estrogen and my progesterone levels were in really good shape. Now, I was feeling a little off and kind of estrogen dominant recently. And I realized I had run out of this, had forgotten it. And so hormones are a tricky thing. You can't just address one thing. You've got to address the balance. And so I was feeling funny when I had forgotten to replace this and I was only supporting one side of the cycle and not the other. And so you got to keep that in mind. Again, I'm not making recommendations for you. You've got to test, especially with hormones. It's got to be specific to you. Work with a practitioner. But I noticed this has always helped me. It's always been supportive to me. My body has always responded really well to it. And when I let go of it accidentally, I was not feeling as good. As soon as I brought it back in within a few days, things seemed to balance out much better. So my body responds really, really well to that. So again, low progesterone, brain signaling, that sort of thing. Where is the other one? Oh, here we go. This is one that I brought in recently. It's called Women's Balance 1 from Vitanica. You can see this. So this has a combination of vitamins like E, B6. So B6, you want to look for a form called peroxidyl 5-phosphate. Now in cancer patients, this can support neuropathy, so that's really important. With this particular blend, this is for like PMS and hormone regulation. So it does have some supportive kind of anti-inflammatory vitamins like vitamins E. It has some iodine in it, which is supportive to the thyroid. And a lot of times because we got away from iodine salt, we actually don't get a lot of iodine in our diet unless we're eating things like seaweed, which is rich in iodine naturally. So of course, food sources are always the best and you don't want to overdose on things, but this isn't like a mega dose of it or anything. Magnesium, and then it also has a bunch of herbs that are supportive. So these are Chinese medicine herbs and adaptogens. So it has things like wild yam, dandelion, dong quai, passion flower, St. John's wort, and it does have some more chase tree, but this is both this I'm on a low dose of, and this has a really low dose. So I'm not like overdoing it with the chase tree. So again, if you are on a bunch of supplements, kind of like medications, you want to make sure that you're not like getting like too much of something, because there is kind of a bell curve where you get up to a certain point and it's super beneficial and you go over that and it starts being maybe too much and not beneficial. So you do want to make sure that you're looking at everything and you're not like getting, you know, way over a normal dose between supplements. So these two work well together, and it has ginkgo in it as well. So this is really supportive for PMS and for like overall hormone balance. And this is one of the new things that I brought in. Again, I had been feeling, you know, some different breast tenderness and things like that. And so I wanted to make sure that my body is clearing things out and regulating and that the ratios are balanced so I don't experience those symptoms. So working well so far. In other hormone news, my DHEA, I'm actually taking DHEA. This is like the parent hormone. So other hormones are created by having enough DHEA. They come from and are created out of this hormone. So I'm taking a very low dose. I'm taking 10 milligrams. I have been since we initially started testing, and my DHEA levels needed supported. My DHEA levels on my last test were actually fine, and my estrogen and progesterone had also risen, probably in large part due to supplementing with this. However, my testosterone was still really low. My cortisol was really low as well. And so we're still trying to balance that. So we are continuing to support on a low dose with DHEA. So again, especially if it's an actual hormone and not like an herb or an adaptogen that helps your body sort of naturally do something, you definitely want to test. You don't just want to randomly be trying things and throwing them into your body if it doesn't need it. Because again, that bell curve, like if you have enough and then you start supplementing, not going to be a good situation. I definitely need that. Phyto ADR, so this is one that I've actually kind of chilled out on. It's basically a bunch of adaptogens to support stress levels in the body and, you know, hormone and adrenal support and that sort of thing. And so I kind of chilled out on this because I'm taking something else right now. And again, I didn't want to like overdo it with overlapping similar things, but this is a great sort of adaptogenic blend, Phyto ADR from Pure Encapsulations. Okay, so those are things that I'm taking regularly. Oh, the other one is that is new from my last test is isoflavone 250 with Genestine or Genestine, however you want to pronounce that. I don't know if you can see that. That is from Douglas Laboratories. So this is basically extracts certain chemical compounds from soy. So this can particularly, we're seeing if this will help me convert some of my estrogen into testosterone, because my estrogen levels were good, but my testosterone levels were not increasing at the same rate. And so testosterone is pulled from a certain estrogen, and we're seeing if this will support my body in making that conversion. So we're experimenting with that now. I'm retesting next month. We'll see what happens. So those are a lot of the hormone support. I'm thinking this, two more that are related, I guess 3 more, it's a lot. Methyl balance. This is a combination of B vitamins, so B12, B6, riboflavin, and folate. And this is just, I need a lot of B vitamins. You'll see that throughout, but also supports good methylation. So, sorry, I'm reading the little thing. So I've been using that. Broccoli sprouts. So this is really cool. So this is fermented broccoli sprouts. So this is going to help with detoxification of, if you are estrogen dominant. So again, it's a food thing though, so it's not going to be super dramatic and super forceful. So you can also get, you'll get sulforaphane from broccoli, and you can get it in more concentrated amounts if you're doing a supplement, and you'll get it in broccoli sprouts as well. And so sulforaphane is really great for hormone detoxification and elimination from your body. So we have a lot of different ways that, our liver kind of breaks things down and marks them for excretion. We want to make sure that everything's functioning well, because if it's a hormone that's been created and used, and then it's been marked and it's not getting out, it can get reabsorbed, leading to some of those imbalances in the body. And that's where you're going to start experiencing moodiness and PMS and, breast tenderness and all of the different PMS symptoms that are common but not normal. And so broccoli sprouts is a really great way to support that. So I actually think that this really supported me, because again, I was kind of feeling all of that. I brought the chase tree back in, which I had not realized that I had run out of, and I used this, and basically awesome. So that's been used as well. Evening primrose oil. Now this is a form of fatty acid. And so again, this can be really supportive to hormones and PMS. And so I'm taking a low dose of this as well. So a lot of times with like fatty acids and, like fish oil and things like that, they're anti-inflammatory, and they help different reactions and responses in the body. So again, that's been very supportive. So in fact, there was one, talk about another one that I had dropped. I dropped this for a long time, and oh my gosh, I was getting so sore, you guys. It was so sore. It was like unbelievable. I would like lean up against something and like just be in pain. And so I told my practitioner, she was kind of going over my list of supplements, and we had dropped this one, and she's like, bring that back in and do this and this and this. And the day that I brought everything back in, it was like literally within the same day that pain went down and the discomfort and the swelling. So supplements can be really powerful if they are being recommended to use specifically for a certain reason based on test results and symptoms. So that's why that. So if you'll notice, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 things already, and most of that has been hormone support. Your hormones take a long time. If you think just about the fact that it's a cycle, that takes a month. And a lot of times what you're experiencing in your ovulation and in your period week is actually due to the health of your body and your ovaries 90 days ago. And so these changes do take some time. And so that's why like the soonest I can retest is like every 90 days. So that's what we're trying to do right now is every 90 days or so get a test and see how my body's changing. In other support, there's a lot of other support that I take. This one is not a regular one. This is just something that I thought I would try. So this is called lymphatic support from Cellcore. So of course, anything that's lymph related, I'm interested in because I had a lymphoma. And so drainage and immune support. Now what's interesting about this, I don't know if you guys have ever heard about SCAC-T. Before I decided to do conventional treatment along with everything else, I was doing as much as I could to support my body, and I did a lot of research, and SCAC-T had been specifically purported to support with Hodgkin's and lymphomas. And so it's basically like, I guess you'd call it like a blood tonifier and a detoxification support and that sort of thing. And it has things like sheep sorrel and turkey rhubarb and these different ingredients in it. Well, this is basically like a supplement form of that. So it's got turkey rhubarb, sheep sorrel, burdock root, slippery elm, astragalus, graviola, and Graviola chuchuahasi. So it's basically an herbal blend that's supposed to support with lymph and detoxification and that sort of thing. So I'm not sure that I've noticed like a major difference in taking it, so I'm probably just going to let this one roll out when I'm done with the bottle. That wasn't something like a practitioner had recommended. That was just something I tried. Active B-complex. So again, I need a lot of B vitamins. It's just my body. I just need them. So I do take a complete B-complex. So when you are looking for a B-complex, you want to make sure that you see folate or methylfolate on the label and not folic acid. So a lot of generic supplements or multivitamins will just have folic acid. You want to make sure that you're getting the active compound. It's much more supportive. And for some people, they're not going to be able to utilize folic acid, like if they have some sort of genetic SNP, MTHFR, if you guys have heard about that. So it's just better to get the active form, skip the question, make sure you're getting folate, methylfolate. Most high quality supplements with good brands that are really conscientious about the bioavailability are going to have that form in them. So I take an active B complex. I usually take a multivitamin as well. The Meyers Way Multi is one of my favorites. Again, it's just got really great levels of the vitamins. She's created it in a way that is very bioavailable to your body, which means that it can utilize it really, really well. Hi, Kate. Hi, Kim. And so again, it has that active form of folate in it, and the ranges and the quality of them are really, really good. Alpha lipoic acid. Now, this is not one that was necessarily given to me. Now, I was taking alpha lipoic acid during treatment, but this was not one that I had to like continue taking. But after my last scan, they showed that I had some fatty liver actually. And so, you know, the doctor was kind of like, well, let's just wait until we see the next scan. Well, ironically, there was a health summit going on that was all about fatty liver and how you can prevent it and how you can treat it naturally and all this kind of stuff. And one of the big things that came out from that was the use of actually IV alpha lipoic acid, and actually able to reverse liver disease and cirrhosis of the liver. I mean, things that actually get to the point where they cause liver failure and death. This was able to completely reverse it. So I was like, well, what the heck? I'll try supplementing with some alpha lipoic acid and see if my liver comes back totally clear on the next scan. Now, why would somebody that eats super healthy get something like that? It's non-alcoholic. I'm not, drinking a lot, that sort of thing. It can simply be due to the massive toxicity load that I was exposed to last year and stress from that sort of a thing. So that's always the possibility. We'll see what happens when I get my next scan. That's why I'm taking that. Vitamin D3, I take 10,000 IU a day. So this is Carlson Labs brand. So I do 10,000 IU for me personally because I tend to have very low blood serum levels. And I posted something yesterday about how if your vitamin D levels are high enough, then they're showing that you're not going to not catch coronavirus, but you are less likely, like by a dramatic amount, to get sick from it and or die from it. And so it dramatically lowers that. So again, it doesn't like we're never going to stop our body from catching bacteria and viruses and all these things. In fact, it's actually good for us. It's good for our immune system to be exposed to a lot of these things. But what we can do instead of preventing it is make sure that our systems are supported. And vitamin D3 is really, really crucial to that system being healthy enough. It's also shown to be very low in cancer patients, like before diagnosis and that sort of thing. I have personally done a genetic test and found that my body has an issue with creating or utilizing or whatever vitamin D. So I'm very aware of it. And also I started taking 10,000 units, and then I dropped down to 5,000. When I retested my blood, my numbers with 10,000 had gone up, and with 5,000 they had gone back down. And so I'm very conscientious about taking it. But with vitamin D, you do definitely want to make sure you know what your blood serum levels are. You can overdose with a supplement. You can't overdose with the sun, but you can overdose with, because your body will stop producing it with the sun when it hits a certain amount. But you can with a supplement. So usually 10,000 is fine, especially for people that live in America and aren't, spending hours and hours and hours outside and that sort of thing. But I would always recommend that you do a blood test and work with someone to just know what your numbers are. So this is just really, really, really important for overall health. Fish oil, I've gotten really, I try to be really conscientious about taking this every single day. I take 3 grams. So this particular brand is Wild Alaskan Fish Oil. And so 1,000 milligrams is 1 gram, and I take 3 grams a day. So this is really anti-inflammatory. So with our immune system, there are reactions that happen where the cells will release different chemical signals. And in order to calm inflammation, some of the chemical signals that get sent out require fish oil, require EPA and DHEA and that sort of thing. And so this actually, you want to make sure that you're up on this so that in your body's immune system response, in its inflammatory response, it has the tools and it has the reserves in order to calm the inflammation naturally. So we don't often eat enough fish oil. You do want to make sure it's a high quality, wild caught if possible, et cetera, but do your best, choose a good brand, and I take 3 grams a day for myself. So those are primarily the ones that I take on I take it back. There's beef liver as well. You guys have probably heard me talk about beef liver a lot. Great source of vitamin A, great source of B vitamins, selenium, just a lot of trace minerals and amino acids that you need. And there's selenium, sodium, potassium, choline. There's just a bunch of things in here. I feel like it's nature's multivitamin, and it really helps my energy. And I think it helps my hair. So I take this all the time. Okay, let me think. That is pretty much the stuff that I take. I keep saying that. I'm lying. This is all stuff I take on a daily basis. The last thing that's like a big every single day thing, I want to talk about this really quickly, is Biocide. So this is an antiviral, antimicrobial, antibacterial without hindering your good beneficial gut bacteria. So I use this with all my gut clients. But for me particularly, it seems to really control inflammation, and it also seems to support my immune system really well, which I know that it does support the immune system. And so for me, it really does seem, it really does seem to control inflammation for me, also support my immune system. And for cancer patients, like a lot of hospitals will actually have them take an antiviral for up to a year after treatment to prevent from them getting shingles or something because of a suppressed immune system. Now, my doctor did not recommend that. However, I do not feel as good when I am not on this. I have tried multiple times to eliminate it. It doesn't work for me. I will not feel good. And so I bring it back in. And whatever this does for my body, it's a combination of different herbs. Whatever it does for me, I feel like it's calming inflammation. I don't know if it's just because there's some virus in there, like I have EBV, that maybe it controls. I don't really care. I'll probably be on this for a really long time until my body just finally figures it out. But this is a really, really long-term thing for me, and I love it. Okay. I think for sure that's like my bulk. I said that like 3 times. So that's primarily what I do. Here are things that maybe are not as consistent, but I have on hand and why I might take them. Mega IgG 2000. I love this. I love this for my gut health clients. It's from Microbiome Labs. This is a tremendous gut support. So you have what are called immunoglobulins as part of your immune system. They help bind toxins, capture them, flush them out. So if you take something like this, let's say you are having some digestive discomfort, or maybe you ate out, or you want to be proactive about it. And so if you eat out and you tend to be really sensitive, you take a handful of these. These are really great. So if I'm feeling a little like maybe I should take these, I'll just take a handful of them. So this is sort of an as needed thing for me. But for a lot of people that have, are on the beginning of their gut health journey and are really, struggling with it and need like a lot of work, this would be more of a every single day thing for a short period of time. So that's that one. Vitamin E, I was taking this super regularly during treatment, anti-inflammatory, etc., etc. I don't take it as regularly now, but I do occasionally. I take my probiotics. Oh, I have another bottle of IgG here. I take my probiotics. Here's a good, I actually haven't taken this in a long time. I've been using Biotoxin binder, but this is GI Detox. It's also a binder. Now, why would you need binders? Well, as a recovering cancer patient, there were a lot of toxins in my body. And I noticed that after treatment, if I would work out, I would have to take a binder or else, because movement and sweating and things like that releases toxins from your tissues, and that can make you feel really bad if you don't address it. And so I noticed when I started working out after treatment that I needed to take a binder. So I usually recently have been taking Biotoxin binder from Cellcore Biosciences, because you can take it with food, and I like that because this one you have to take away from food, so I like to not think about it. And I've noticed that I have this. It's a really excellent. What else? So I do a daily shake every day. And this has, I do use Shakeology, but people can, a lot of people use other vegan protein shakes, organic, whatever. But what I like about a shake is it's a good source of protein. It's easily digestible, and it lets me add a crap ton of other stuff to be like just this super nutrient bomb. And I typically do it either for breakfast or a snack in the morning. So it's usually before noon. And one of the things I've been adding recently, again, this is not like based on a test or based on a practitioner recommendation. This is just something I've added. It's called Raw Revelations. Yeah, Raw Revelations. This is a new brand. I didn't know about it until recently. MSM Morning Mix. So it's an energizing drink mix, and basically it's a blend of different berries and adaptogens and things like that. So, and it has MSM in it. And so this is really like supportive to cell health and the ability of your cells to detoxify and energize, basically. And so here they say this formulation may support the joints, liver, blood, digestive and immune system, brain, skin, hair, and nails. Sulfur originates from the ocean and is supplied to our environment by the rain cycle. And so basically this is, supplying a good level of sulfur to your body. And they have a different dosage on the back. Like you can start with a teaspoon and see how you feel. I actually really do feel like putting it in my shake like wakes my brain up. So I do actually think I'm noticing a difference after just a couple of days of using this. And they do have a therapeutic dosage. So for example, if somebody's experiencing like a lot of pain or joint pain or aches or something like that, you may increase the level. And so they talk about how to do that. So I'm experimenting with this because I was thinking, I have a client that has fibromyalgia, and I'm thinking maybe this is something that she could use. And so far I'm really liking it. I like to know what I recommend to people. So unless it's like something I can't personally take or shouldn't personally take, I like to be very familiar with things that I recommend to people. So just so you know. I'm also taking maca powder. I'll throw that in here. I'll throw like a teaspoon of maca powder in there. Now you can go way higher doses than that. Like I've heard about people doing multiple tablespoons when they're working on their hormones, especially if they are postmenopausal. Maca can be like super supportive to your hormones if you're postmenopausal. And so you can take really high doses of it. But I just stick to a teaspoon. It's hormone supportive with everything else that I'm going on. It's sort of a natural balancer. So I like to take that. I also throw in, and you're being balanced up against it, a sodium ascorbate, which is vitamin C powder. And that's from Nutribiotic. Now, to be fair, not sure that it is like the absolute highest, because there's different ways that you can get vitamin C. It can be from a plant, whatever. Not sure that it's like the highest quality vitamin C in the entire world, but the reason I chose it is because it's a powder and it's sodium ascorbate, which I've learned the combination there, powder and sodium ascorbate, is gentle on your stomach when you want to do higher doses. And so I take a teaspoon of that powder, which is 4 grams of vitamin C, and I put it in here. So again, 1,000 milligrams is 1 gram. And so a lot of times supplements will be 250 milligrams, 500 milligrams, maybe 1,000 milligrams. I take 1 teaspoon, I put it in my shake, it's 4 grams, I get it in the morning. If you wanted to titrate up to see what your bowel tolerance is, that's when you get diarrhea from vitamin C, and it's okay, it's harmless. That's your bowel tolerance. If you want to do that, I would say do something like use sodium ascorbate powder because it's going to be more gentle on your system. All the different things that you add to the shakes below, maybe. It's a lot and it kind of varies. Like I used to be putting Green Smoothie Girls Ultimate Minerals in here too. But again, that's sort of, on and off. I'll throw it in there. You can put fresh fruit in your shakes as well. And a lot of times, I didn't do it today, but a lot of times I will also add a scoop of collagen powder, and I'll use Vital Proteins collagen powder, and that's great for hair, skin, nails, joints, etc. So gosh, you guys, that took a long time because that is a lot of supplements. But here's the thing. What would you do? What would you be willing to do if you were recovering from a major disease or if you are invested in preventing a major disease? I was on the phone yesterday with someone who was like literally just the perfect age to take charge of this because she's already noticing brain issues. So issues with, not being able to complete a sentence, issues with planning and focus and concentration. And she's a young mom and her aunt has a lot of memory issues. And I told her, brain, not saying she has a neurological issue or will ever be diagnosed with one. However, these are not symptoms to be ignored because things like cancer and Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and dementia, those sorts of things, they all start developing in your body 7, 10, 14 years prior. And even with like Alzheimer's and things of the brain, sometimes it's even longer. It's like 15, 20 years. That's those random symptoms where you can't remember, you can't focus, you can't, walk into a room, you're like, where are my keys? Why did I come in here? Those are not things to be ignored. So I'm very much a proponent of being proactive whenever possible so that you don't have to be reactive. And goodness, 10, 15 years ago when I was eating like garbage and I was exposed to every toxin known to mankind and I was putting aluminum on my armpits every day and I was drinking sodas for lunch, et cetera, you name it, I probably did it. And then I took like 3 antibiotics in the course of a year, et cetera. Had I known what I know now, would I have taken preventative action to prevent the cancer that I just experienced? You better betcha. So there's never a better time than now to work on your health and to really take preventative action because it really, really does. And of course, there are things to support you through, and there are some things that can support you after when those things happen in your life. But if possible, if you haven't had a disease yet, let's make sure you never get there. So that's my little plug. Without being salesy, if you ever want to work with me, I am accepting a few clients right now. So hope you guys are having an awesome day. I will talk to you soon. If you have any questions about what I shared, just let me know. Please remember, I'm not your practitioner, so I cannot recommend specific supplements, but I can answer questions about what I'm doing. All right. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.